Hi, my name is AllisonPotter, and I'm going to be talking about the critical positions presentation for our Monday class IA7002 critical reading. In introduction, we discussed new ways to hypothesize design that is either historical or modern, and how it would impact our graphic design, whether it was related to multiple disciplines such as professional, personal, or even socio-political pursuits. In particular, we were introduced to 4 different research methods to frame our course and also challenge our Eurocentric and American design methods and traditions that we've been previously instructed on that may no longer be inclusive. The first being decolonialization, control by one country over another and its people, speculative, tending to think about what might happen or be true, participatory, providing the opportunity for people to be involved in deciding how something is done, and sustainability, involving methods that do not completely use up or destroy natural resources to last a long time. These definitions are taken from Merriam-Webster's dictionary. For week 1, we learned about the 6 thinking hats. In this workshop, the focus was on exploring alternative ways of thinking rather than simply problem solving. This was achieved through utilization of different thinking hats, which allowed our group to test new perspective. In particular, we referenced 6 different styles, such as white being info or data, red as emotions, black as bad points, yellow as optimism, green as creativity, and blue as organizing. I personally was assigned to yellow and optimism. My group was sustainability, and so we thought about an outcome where we could educate children and adults about sustainability through large interactive play. So therefore, we had the sky the limit and wanted to make sure it was as inclusive and interactive as possible with large moving parts, and just thought really big and outside the box. And what I learned is that this can be an enjoyable and really pleasant experimental process, but still very informative. For week 2, I was sick, but I did the reading and workshop on my own at home. The theme was critical thinking, and we read a book by Bell Hooks, Teaching Critical Thinking, Practical Wisdom. My key takeaways was that thinking is an action, curiosity ends for most children with conformity, many consume and regurgitate, and that the key to achieving this is to monitor, self-correct, be interactive, don't be passive, unpack, move beneath, be engaged, don't be protective of your viewpoint. I also read about Stephanie and Bruce Tharp's 4-field framework, which includes 4 different frames: commercial, experimental, responsible, and discursive. Commercial is for profit, responsible is serving the underserved, experimental about the process and asks questions, and discursive is audience reflection. Within my discipline and my personal work, I gravitate more towards responsible and discursive. When I worked at an ad agency, I worked on commercial design. I think it's interesting how the creation of utilitarian design to communicate ideas encourages discussion. Discursive is great as a tool for thinking since it raises awareness and understanding of complex issues like psychological, sociological, and ideological. Those are all things I'm passionate about. It's also something we will see more in an exhibit, film, or print. I view it as the closest thing to high art for graphic design. Their voice is the most important thing. An example I really thought that demonstrated this was the dirty water popsicles as a great reference from students in Taiwan about dirty water pollution. For week 3, we addressed research method by keywords, and our group was assigned the topic of decolonialism. A word that came up initially when we were doing brainstorming was globalism, as well as the word prohibit, which we also came up with: limit, prevent, does not allow, issues, no time, too literal, not willing, non-participatory. We went with British colonialism as an empire and drew color symbolism from flags of India and China and anywhere under British colonial rule, as well as doing doodle and illustrations. We drew mummies, diamonds, pharaohs, tea, and land. We were influenced by the Fat Studio imagery and doodles, as well as Grayson Pearson's Brexit polls, where he showed that the color blue and the image of a teapot actually unifies the Leave and Remain voters of Brexit. For week 4, we discussed mapping as a lexicon and learned about different ways that maps are ever evolving and existing and creating dialogues. And they're not just something that is frozen in time, but they can help you narrate and symbolize, repicture, and reimagine. We chose for our group to do we had a lot of illustration students, and they wanted to do like a theme park. So we did different areas and like adventures in that sense for what the symbolism was of the experience, for what it was for a graphic designer versus what it was for the illustrators. And we did different 3D imaging. We did not contain it just simply to a square, but did things with like different shapes that you can see on the following video. So I think as far as mapping goes in my own practice, realistically, I'm most comfortable with mind mapping in the sense that we did on the first week of school. But this was very interesting to learn of different ways to view maps. In week 5, we learned about how to create a 1-minute film as well as a dialogic assessment. Oxford Reference refers to dialogic as the definition being characterized or constituted by the interactive, responsive nature of dialogue rather than by single-mindedness of monologue. I mostly learned from this presentation, according to Bell Hooks, how crucial it is when developing our critical thinking skills to actually have dialogue or conversation as well as collaboration. And those are the key takeaways that I took from that. Then this is the video that I created for the 1-minute Padlet presentation. I didn't really give the umbrella much thought before coming to the UK, but since moving to London, I have learned the importance of it. I bought this version because it was small and compact. Through my research, I learned that the umbrella has been around for almost 4,000 years. The word umbrella evolved from the Latin umbra, meaning shadow. An umbrella may also be called a brolly. The Chinese invented the first waterproof umbrella as protection from rain when they waxed and lacquered their paper parasol. The umbrella has also been used as a weapon, such as in 1978 when a Bulgarian dissident writer was killed in London by a dose of ricin injected via a modified umbrella attributed to the KGB. It has been used in such art as when Mary Poppins flew by umbrella, or when DC Comics' The Penguin used the umbrella as a weapon with machine guns. The umbrella has also been memorialized in countless famous paintings, etchings, and pottery throughout history. It has been incorporated into street art, architecture, and countless other forms of design. In conclusion, I encourage you to appreciate your umbrella next time you open it up, but just preferably not indoors. For week 7, we discussed taxonomies and typologies, and under that was Richard Saul Wurman's latch theory, which includes location, alphabet, time, category, and hierarchy. The latch system goes beyond mere information of organization. It serves as a valuable technique to enhance research through the integration of critical analysis and improvement in communication and presentation abilities. We also learned about typology and taxonomy and the research method Double Diamond. From that information, we applied it to classifications of candy. Our group decided that we should research the candy's city and country origin for location, the candy's year or time period of invention, the candy's purpose, or any other brief histories. We then decided to organize the candy in a chronological order of its invention, as well as assign a color and a sound to the packaging ASMR to classify it by type. Week 8 covered iteration of variation. Unfortunately, I was sick with an arthritis flare-up this day as well, but I was able to review the lecture notes and watch some of the films, including John Berger's Way of Seeing from 1972, where he framed different ways to perceive a Goya painting. To conclude, I would like to emphasize that I have successfully achieved the 4 learning outcomes. My graphic guide will provide a more detailed exploration of each category. Nonetheless, I effectively showcased my understanding of design history through various slides in today's presentation. I have pushed the boundaries of the contemporary design discipline in my personal practice, though there is more that I'd like to explore. In my weekly assignments, I've extensively engaged with the process of decolonialization, and I have further explored this topic in my research for the graphic guide. I have effectively communicated critical ideas through my work and presentation. Although I already possessed professional and political development prior to this term, I have significantly expanded my comprehension of globalization and the importance of a global perspective in advancing my practice. Thank you for your time.